Alright, in 54 they're asking us to solve this equation graphically. And it's cubic, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug it into the calculator. I'm going to clear out this one. Let's see if you can see it. And I'm going to plug in x cubed plus 2x squared minus 4x minus 8. And we're not going to factor by grouping. We're not going to do any of that. We're just going to graph this. And we're going to see where it equals 0. I don't know if it touches there or if it crosses. So I'm going to have to zoom in. But I can find this one here. So let's calculate the 0 for this one before we zoom in. Second, calculate 0. And I need to tell the calculator where I'm at. So there's left, there's right, yes, I want to guess, and so x equals 2. That's my first 0. Next I'm going to zoom in, and I want to get close enough to this part down here, so I have to tell it where I want it to zoom in at, and I hit enter. And now it's zooming in. I still don't know if it touches. So let's see if we can zoom in some more. And I move my cursor to about there and I say zoom in and I hit enter. Now I look at this. Man, it still looks like it touches it. So I think that it touches it instead. So calculate, calculate, second, calculate my 0. I don't know if it'll work. Let's see. Left, right, enter. Oh, my 0 is -2. So it looks like it just touches there. Now we could probably see if this can be factored by grouping. X plus 2. Minus 4, x plus 2. So now I have x plus 2, x squared minus 4, x plus 2, x plus 2 minus 2, and I have 3 zeros. These two just happen to touch. Now if I give you one like this, I would give it where if you're going to actually solve it by graphing, you won't be able to solve it by factoring. Now this one's an ugly one. Who would want to sit there and solve this since it's an absolute value? Luckily we're going to do this by graphing. We're going to put this in y1 and we're going to put this one in y2 and we're going to see where they intersect. So let's clear this out and we're going to put math num abs 2x minus 1. Make sure you understand your calculator because tomorrow is not the time to be asking how to use your calculator. So I have y1, y2. Remember, we just zoomed in on the previous problem, so I'm going to hit zoom 6 so I can actually see it. There's my V graph. There is my parabola. I want to know where these two intersect. So we're going to do second, calc. See the intersect button? We're going to hit 5. Now notice, it tells me what's the first curve. Yeah, that's my first curve. It jumps to the second curve. Yeah. Now it's closer to this point, so it's probably going to go to that point. Yes, I want it to guess. X equals -1. Now I have to repeat the process all over again. But now I have to get close enough to the other one. And I get x equals 1.449. Alright? If it's going to be rounded to 1 decimal place, it would be 1.4. If it's going to be rounded to 2 decimal places, it's going to be 1.45. If it's going to be rounded to 3 decimal places, then it's 1.449. And those are my answers. Now, if you want to check that, you can put these numbers in here and see if they equal each other. Keep in mind this was rounded, so you'd have to carry the whole thing in to make it check. Alright, this problem says to solve the inequality and then graph it. Now what we've got here is if I don't tell you what interval notation to put it in, then you can just leave it like this. But we're going to take minus 4 to both sides, minus 6 less than 8 less than or equal to 3. Interval notation would look like this. Graphing it means this part here is negative 6, this part here is 3, and it's everything in between. Now this doesn't tell you to solve it graphically or to solve it algebraically. I'm going to do both. The first thing I'm going to do is set it up for algebra. Now remember, there's two parts. So it's going to be the opposite and change the sign. So now I have 2x less than 12, x less than 6, or 2x greater than negative 2, x greater than negative 1. Interval notation says negative 1 to 6, and that will be all of those x values that make this true. If I want to try this with my calculator, I'm going to put in, we'll clear the other ones out, I'm going to put math num abs, and I'm going to put in 2x minus 5. And then down here I'm going to put 7, and I'm going to push zoom 6 so I can see the graph. And I want to see what those intersection points. This is asking you all those x values that are below 7. So it's going to be down here, which means from here to here is what I'm looking for. Second, calculate, intersect. There's graph 1, there's graph 2. Yes, I want you to guess. Negative 1. Second, calc, intersect. I have to get closer to the other intersection point. There's graph 1, graph 2. Yes, please guess. And I get 6. So it's confirmed I can do it either way. Now we can solve this again using algebra. 3x plus 4 greater than or equal to 2. Or 3x plus 4 less than or equal to negative 2. I solve for x and I get negative 2. X is greater than or equal to negative 2/3. I solve for x less than or equal to negative 6. X is less than or equal to negative 2. So I want all those bigger than negative 2/3 or all those less than negative 2. If I'm using interval notation, what I'm looking for is from negative infinity to negative 2. I don't include negative infinity, I do include negative 2. And I include negative 2/3 and I go to positive infinity. Now remember, on a number line, here is negative 2, here is negative 2/3. This one is asking you for all of this, and this one is asking you for all of that. That may help you do the interval notation. Now if I go to put this on my calculator, this is what it would look like. Math, I'm going to change this to 3x plus 4. I'm going to change this to 2, and I'm going to graph it. Now it's asking me for all those x values that are above this line. So I'm looking for all of these and all of these. That tells me it's going to be this kind of interval notation. When I go to intersect, I'm going to get negative 2, and when I go to intersect, I'm going to get negative 2/3. And so either way, you can solve it with graphing as well as with a algebra.